Have you ever thought that just one email can destroy a person's entire life? My name is Tom. I am 42 years old, Staff Sergeant with the 82nd Airborne. When the words in the email appeared, I could hardly believe my eyes. My wife poured out the cold words. I can't continue this marriage. I want a divorce. I've withdrawn all the money from our joint bank account. I'm also living with my new boyfriend in my house. She apologized for choosing to announce it via email, saying that it would be easier for both of us. However, what shocked me the most was not only that cold divorce proposal. In the email, she confessed that she had withdrawn all the money from our joint bank account. Every penny I had saved for our future, now gone. Not stopping there, she also calmly admitted that she had brought a man named Jeremy to live in our house. Those indifferent words were like a knife stabbing straight into my heart. My heart clenched, my limbs went limp, and I almost dropped my laptop. I was stunned, my ears ringing, my eyes glued to the screen, unable to read any further. I reread it from beginning to end 2 or 3 times, hoping I was seeing things or that it was just a nightmare. But no, every word was clear and cold. My heart was shattered. The whole world I thought I had, a happy marriage, a warm home waiting to be reunited, was shattered in an instant. I felt betrayed in love and financially devastated. Not only had I lost my wife, I had lost my home, all the money I had saved. The image of my wife and I's small house in Spokane suddenly appeared. The place I always thought of when I missed home, now occupied by a stranger. The thought of another man being with my wife in my own home made me want to go crazy. My heart ached and my pride was trampled mercilessly. The hardest thing to swallow was that it was all happening behind my back while I was serving my country far away. Just last week, she called me to say she missed me and told me to take care of my health. But now she quietly packed everything up and left me with a short email of just a few lines. I was not only bad and angry, but also shocked. All the promises she had made before turned out to be lies. Just a few months ago, right before my departure, she hugged me tightly at the airport, her eyes filled with tears as she said, "Don't worry about going on your mission. I will always wait for you to come back." At that time, I had absolute faith in that promise. We had been together for nearly 5 years, and in my eyes, she had always been a gentle and loyal wife. I had never doubted her love. But now everything had gone up in smoke. I asked myself, was it because I had been away for too long, leaving her lonely, that this had happened? But then I thought of all the comrades who had also gone on missions, and their wives and children were still waiting for me. Betrayal cannot be blamed on circumstances. It is her own choice. I sat there in front of the screen for a long time, not knowing what to do. Tears were about to fall, but I clenched my teeth to keep from crying. Around me, my teammates were still laughing and talking. No one knew that my world had just collapsed. In the midst of hundreds of people, I still felt terribly lost. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. After a few minutes, I closed my laptop, stood up unsteadily. I went straight to the unit's shared bathroom. The cold water pouring down on me made me shiver, but at least it helped me sober up a little. I leaned against the tiled wall, closed my eyes, and let the water and hot tears flow down my face. I told myself I can't collapse now, at least not in front of everyone. I still have a mission to complete, and my teammates are relying on me. After showering, I dried myself, put on my uniform like a machine. Looking in the mirror, I saw my own red eyes and bewildered face. I forced a weak smile and reassured myself, "It's okay, I'll be fine." Then I walked out and returned to the barracks as if nothing had happened. That afternoon, I still finished my shift. I drove around the barracks in my patrol car, mindless, with 100 thoughts running through my mind. The occasional buzz of the radio pulled me back to reality, and I tried to answer as normally as possible. No one noticed anything strange about me, or at least they didn't say anything. I just worked silently, swallowing my pain. That night, when I returned to bed after my shift, I felt empty. The pain was still there, but the initial shock had subsided, giving way to an indescribable coldness. In my mind, anger flared up at times, urging me to drop everything and fly home immediately. I imagined myself suddenly appearing at the door, dragging that man out of my house and confronting my wife. But it was just a crazy thought that flashed through my mind. I knew that reacting angrily at this moment would only invite more trouble and possibly ruin my military career. I opened my laptop and read my wife's email one last time. There were no more tears, no more questions about why. Instead, a thought flashed through my mind. I would not beg or blame her. I began typing a reply. At first, I wanted to write a lot. How hurt and disappointed I was. How she had betrayed my trust. But then I stopped. Was there any point in writing those words? She must have made up her mind. I deleted the entire paragraph, took a deep breath, and finally typed a short sentence. I understand. That was it. I pressed send. My reply was a cold, two-word response. I wanted her to know that I wouldn't beg or plead. If that was her choice, I respected it, but I would respond in my own way. Though my heart was still aching, I felt a strange sense of relief as I pressed send. It was the moment I stopped mourning my fate and began to think about my next move. That night, I began to plan what I needed to do. First, I had to make sure she couldn't take any more money from me. I immediately contacted the unit's finance department and asked them to change the account information for my salary. All my salary and benefits from this point on would be transferred to a new bank account in my name only. That way, my wife wouldn't have a penny of my hard-earned money. I also went through everything I could, changed the passwords for our shared email and online accounts, canceled the additional credit cards I had set up for her, and most importantly, changed the beneficiary on my life insurance. Previously, I had made her the beneficiary in case I died. No way now, I immediately added my parents. I wouldn't let a traitor get any more benefits from me. The next morning, I met with my unit commander and briefly reported on my family situation. My wife had filed for divorce. They even asked if I wanted to take early leave to deal with family matters, but I refused. I knew my mission still had to be completed, and returning now wouldn't change what had happened. Instead, they allowed me to use the satellite phone longer than usual to call home. I called my parents and broke down in tears. They were stunned and furious, but tried to calm down and comfort me. After they calmed down, they promised to consult a lawyer immediately. A few days later, I was connected by email and phone with a divorce lawyer in my hometown. He walked me through the necessary steps remotely. He also said that it was fortunate that my wife and I didn't have any children. This would make the divorce less complicated, and more importantly, no child would be harmed. I provided the lawyer with a copy of the email my wife had sent, in which she confessed to the withdrawal in the affair. It would be important evidence if we went to court. The lawyer also said that the fact that she had taken all the money without permission might cause the judge to reconsider the division of assets. I felt some comfort in that. At least this injustice would be corrected. Sure enough, a few weeks later, my wife discovered that my paycheck had stopped going into our joint account. She sent me a frantic, angry email asking why the money wasn't coming in, that she couldn't pay the bills without it. Reading it, I felt a mixture of pain and cold satisfaction. Did she really think she could still rely on me for money after what she'd done? I didn't respond to the email. Instead, I forwarded it to my lawyer and blocked all contact from her. From now on, the law would take care of things. During the long nights that followed, lying alone on the iron bed in the barracks, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about what had happened. Sometimes I wondered, is there anyone in this world who has suffered the same shock as me? I felt terribly lonely, as if I was the only one betrayed in a faraway place. The soldier had to sleep on a folding bed at his unit on his first night back home because he had no home to return to. Hearing that story, I felt both indignant and bitter. It turned out that my pain was nothing compared to others. Stories like that made me realize that betrayal at home was not uncommon. The battlefield was harsh, but the spiritual front of soldiers far from home was 10 times harsher. Many people collapsed before the cruel farewell letters from home. In English, there is also the term Dear John letter to refer to heartless letters sent to soldiers on the battlefield. But there were also people who rose up strongly after the incident. I once read about another veteran who, after being betrayed by his wife, devoted himself to his business and became very successful. Another person, after his grief, met a new partner who loved them wholeheartedly. These examples show that after the dark night, there is still dawn. I told myself that I had to belong to the latter group. I would not allow myself to be ruined by the mistakes of others. A few years have passed since then. During that time, I allowed myself to experience things that I had missed out on before, traveling here and there, pursuing personal interests such as mountain climbing, running marathons. I also spent more time with my family and friends who had always been there for me. I continued my career and found new joys in life. I heard that my ex-wife's relationship with her lover also broke up soon. She once texted me, belatedly apologizing and asking for my forgiveness. My heart did not waver when I read those words. I quietly deleted that message, feeling at peace because I knew that I had truly let go. For me, everything had ended a long time ago. Now I am ready for new beginnings. I open my heart to the future and believe that one day true happiness will smile upon me again. Looking back on my journey, I have learned a profound lesson about resilience. Life can fall apart in an instant, but how we deal with that fall defines who we are. I chose to rise from the ashes instead of wallowing in resentment. Thanks to my family, friends, the discipline I developed in the military, and my inner strength, I overcame the darkest period of my life. I could not have achieved what I have today without the encouragement of my family and close friends who pulled me up when I fell. Now I no longer feel bitter when thinking about the past. Instead, I feel peaceful. My revenge is to live a better, happier life without the person who betrayed me. If you, the person watching this video, are unfortunately in a similar situation, I hope my story can give you some strength. Stay strong, seek support from your loved ones, and focus on rebuilding your own happiness. Remember that after the rain, the sun shines. Losing today does not mean losing everything tomorrow, because tomorrow is always an opportunity to start over. In the end, the most precious thing we can keep is our dignity and peace of mind. Never let anyone take that away from you. You deserve happiness and respect, so always believe in yourself.